Ladies and gentle folks, here we go into game number 1. It's going to be Bratok going up against Cloud.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a TVT here on NASL Naga Caverns. We've seen it before. We're going to see it again. You know what this usually comes out to, Andre?
No.
Yeah, you do. Don't be so silly. Of course, see that third base at the gold end up being so pivotal on this map.
Maybe.
Of course, those two pathways with the Naga Towers end up being an unbelievably huge deal as you try to defend that base.
We could see mass battle cruisers, though. That is definitely a possibility.
It's a possibility.
Definitely a possibility.
You know, it's pretty unlikely, I would say, since due to the low.
Did I? Why you tase me, bro?
It's
definitely a possibility.
That's true. You're right.
I can say that with everything.
Right. You're right. You can say that.
As long as they don't see something crazy.
That's why it means nothing.
I know. We could definitely possibly be seeing some sort of mass Reaper opening.
We definitely, possibly might see Mass Raven here. Definitely, possibly.
That's just stupid, though. All right, so we're going into this game. It is, of course, as you said, a Terran versus turn. We have Cloud in the bottom left-hand corner. As what color would you call that?
Don't make me do that, Andre. Teal, okay. I guess.
No, it's aquamarine, you idiot. Okay, top right-hand corner, we have as the yellow Terran. Imba Bratok, I would always call him a mustard yellow.
Mustard yellow?
Mustard yellow.
It's a little bit of a dirty yellow. It's like a Dijon mustard rather than like that.
I do not like Dijon mustard.
It's not like Heinz mustard. It's more Dijon. Man. Yeah. It's got like more... It's got more subtlety to it, you know? Maybe a little bit of a smokiness.
I don't like well, I don't like any mustards, to be honest. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Oh, mustard can be good. It can be.
No. Not to judge you or anything, your mind, bro. But that's really stupid.
Gotta open your mind, man.
I know, I'm just kidding.
Acquired tastes are where it's at. Anything you don't like the taste of, eat it enough, and then you'll like the taste of it.
Maybe. I mean, it used to be like that for me with mayonnaise. I hated mayonnaise for a while, and then
I love mayonnaise.
All of a sudden, there was like my teen years come up, and all of a sudden, everything needs mayonnaise.
Oh yeah, dude, obviously.
I even had hot dogs with mayonnaise in it.
Okay, that might just be a little too far. You gotta have the sandwich. You get the chicken. You got the bacon. You got the lettuce. You got some mayonnaise in there. Maybe throw some like peppers or something. I don't know, man. Onions? I don't know. You know what? We are gonna be seeing here though. It's not gonna be any cheese on this sandwich.
No,
that's not what we're gonna be seeing.
There is not a lot of cheese, but it is going to be tasteful. We do have a fast expansion coming out from ATN Cloud. He's going to do the gasless expansion that we see so many times on Zelma Caverns. It might be a little weird though.
It is a little bit weird because you have to defend. Generally, when you go for a gasless expand and you're trying to defend against a mech-based style, you have to use bunkers to defend your Marines, since obviously things like Blue Flame Hellions can just decimate you. So of course it's gonna be a little more difficult when the natural's so wide open like it is on Naga Caverns to actually properly defend with bunkers. You might need more like 3 bunkers, 4 bunkers even maybe to properly defend. Could be a little bit difficult for him.
Yeah. And in this case, I would have actually loved him to gun the refineries before throwing down the command center. Now, a lot of people are going to be like, oh my god, Great Torp, what are you talking about?
Look at what Bradok's doing, man.
Oh,
this is 100% what you call reactive play. He scouts his opponent. He saw the second supply depot go down. He didn't get into the base to see the lack of gas, but he knows that timing. He saw the second supply depot go down early enough that it has to be a gasless build. Otherwise, he wouldn't have had money for that supply depot. And thus, he knows, wait a minute, I'm not going to go for this quick factory play, even though he went gas first. Instead, I'm going to switch it up, pull some of my SCVs off gas, go for the quick expansion, go for the Reaper opening since he's only going to have Marines. Or no, he's actually not going to go for the Reaper opening. Never mind, he's going to go for the very fast combat shield. Yeah.
So his advantage will be with the combat shield. He will have combat shield timing attack if he wants to utilize that. I actually highly doubt he does, just based on the fact that he will be off of 1 barracks for quite a long time. Combat shields will finish just as these 2 barracks finish. But we'll see. I mean, I guess that's just a defensive thing. It's kind of weird, though. Overall, I do say that Cloud has the more efficient build just because he gets the command center out. But I don't mind Bradok's build at all because we've seen he's been able to keep his opponent in the dark.
It's a safer build, man.
Exactly.
It's what it is. It's basically he was in the mirror matchup and he thought, you know what, I can't go gasless expand, it's too risky. But once he saw his opponent doing it, unlike many players who in that situation would have just gone gung-ho with their build and just kept trying to do it and be really far behind, instead he reacts immediately, goes for the expansion. Nice scan there by Cloud. We'll have all that information. He's going to see the 3 barracks and that command center, so he knows he's pretty safe right now to be able to move that command center down to his natural and start mining. I'm actually pretty surprised he did not start doing that. There's a scan as well from Bratok on Cloud's base. So he is going to see, of course, that factory with the tech lab and the starport coming up. But look at that. That's actually really important on that timing. If that scan had come a couple seconds earlier, he might have thought he was going for a mid-game Banshee here. But instead, he saw that the factory started building that tank. And that's going to be really important.
Cloud being really cute with this bunker. Going to place it here. Of course, he can just cancel whenever he wants it. There it goes. Now, I want to draw attention very big to where Bratok actually allocated his next 100 gas after the combat shield. It was to this +1 weapons attack. That is such a unique thing that we see in Terran vs. Terran.
Absolutely, man. You know, I almost feel, even though generally, obviously, you want the attack upgrade since Marines attack so quickly, I almost feel like it might have been a good idea to get the armor upgrade since it might just, you know, work a little bit better with that combat shields, trying to make your units last that much longer when you go for the attacks against things like siege tanks and enemy Marines. But +1 timing will be great. He's going to get +1 and stim and combat shields. That can lead him up for a great 2-base timing to attack when Cloud, obviously, since his gas was a little bit later, might not be quite as prepared. But, of course, Cloud does have siege mode done now, so that's going to give him a great defensive capability here.
Absolutely. I mean, the siege mode is hands down the way you stop any early game aggression, whether it be Hellions, whether it be Marine Marauders. You get a siege tank, you get a bunker, you are absolutely fine. Up to 2 siege tanks right now. But where Bratok has the advantage is going to be the mobility. These Marines, once they get the stim combat shields and that +1, they will have so much agency to just move around the map. We can see already he's taken both of these towers, giving him a lot of presence. All he has to be wary about are really harassment tools like Banshees, like drops, things like that. Not really too worried about that though, because we did have that initial scan that saw everything that was going on in Cloud's base.
Yeah, that's going to help him out so much with all that vision. Just, you know, being able to know what your opponent's doing at any point in time, especially in a mirror match, is unbelievably important. So you can react, of course, if you do see something like a drop coming and you can actually stop it. All of a sudden, you're way ahead, especially if you can kill off that medevac. We do see Bratok switching his starport over onto the reactor, so he is going to start double producing medevacs himself here. Of course, Cloud is just making his reactor now with that starport. We'll see if he actually goes ahead and tries to go into any Vikings for some air dominance, or if he actually gets those medevacs. I mean, he does have a lot of Marines himself as well, but he's relying a lot more on these tanks, whereas Bratok is just relying purely right now on Marines and medevacs.
Yeah, well, I do want to say he's relying a lot on his upgrades more than anything. The premature upgrades that he gets gives him a lot of power with this army. Obviously, his opponent's Marines are nowhere near as strong as his, and additionally, he can always stay ahead in that. What's interesting to note is that he's going up to 4 gas, so he will have some sort of dynamic switch. There's 2 ways that you can go out of it. It looks like it's going siege tanks for now for Bratok, but the other way you could have gone is get another engineering bay and then throw down an armory and then get fast 2-2. It looks like Bratok obviously going to go the more siege tank heavy way, and I do like that progression.
Yeah, you do kind of need siege tanks at a certain point in TVT. It's really hard to get by without them, especially when you're trying to play defensively and take a third. He did already take the rocks out at the gold, but of course, Cloud's third is way ahead here. He's already got it about 3/4 of the way done. He hasn't taken out any rocks yet, but he's going to be able to triple SCV, produce triple mule as well. We can see right now they're really, really even economically. 55 to 54 harvesters, slightly in favor of Cloud here. But remember that with that third base on the way, unless Bratok can move forward with these Marines and do some type of amazing damage, which I seriously doubt he can with all those siege tanks set up, I feel like Bratok is going to start falling behind since his third is just that much later. There we go. Now his third has just started, so Cloud is going to have a nice little economic lead here. But this is a large number of Marines moving forward for Bratok, and he does finally have 1 siege tank. Oh my god, Cloud is going to move out right now. This could be the worst timing since, of course, he does have +1 did just complete for Cloud, but he still has stim about 20 seconds from completion. So if Bratok actually attacked right now while these siege tanks were not in position to siege up, it could be terrible for Cloud. But it looks like Bratok is just going to go check the third, and he's not actually committing to any aggression just yet.
You know, I think it's actually a big problem that Bratok wasn't getting that 1 expansion. This is really a big thing about going mass Marines and medevacs in this beginning stages. You have that mobility, you have that map control, so take advantage of it and get that really fast expansion. Now that Cloud will have his expansion before his opponent, this might be a potential problem. But we can see a little bit of a fight going down right now and actually going directly into this. Big stim comes out from both of these players, and it looks like the 2 siege tanks from Bratok are going to be cleaned up. And Cloud is able to hold his gold expansion.
Yeah, great break there. I mean, that's a hard position to break when you have siege tanks set up there and you want to be able to take that gold base, be able to move forward and take out those tanks that easily. I mean, Bratok did pretty much just abandon his tanks with those Marines despite having the upgrade advantage. He was at 1-1 compared to the 1-0 of Cloud. But of course, with that higher siege tank count that Cloud has been building up all game long, and he hasn't been losing them at all, he has a pretty big advantage there, and you can use that positionally. Now he's going to be able to do the same thing Bratok was trying to do, but he's going to have much more success with 4 tanks here. He's going to be able to deny this gold base very, very efficiently, but he's going for the engagement where the tanks weren't sieged up yet, but now Bradok's going to take a ton of splash damage. Nice splits on the Marines, though. Now he's going to get in and be able to pick off a lot of these tanks. This is actually terrible for Cloud that he lost all of those Marine forces. Unfortunately, no target firing there from Bratok, so he actually takes out the full HP tank before the one that had 1 HP. So unfortunately, not the best efficiency there from Bratok, but it doesn't matter. He was able to take that out, and Cloud, unfortunately, I feel like he just was too greedy with that. You know, you don't have to take that far forward of pressure. You know, Bratok, we saw siege up right at the edge of the range to be able to siege that expansion. Instead, Cloud walked all the way up to the mineral line. I think that was just way too far to move. He didn't siege up in time, and
his Marines were pretty badly damaged from that engagement, the previous engagement as well.
Right.
But we can see that Cloud is still retaining his advantage because he's had that gold expansion for quite a long time and has been putting mules towards that. Looks like a little bit of a drop going down in the 6 o'clock position. This will be cleaned up very fast by Cloud.
Wow,
not able to do anything, but kills a double supply depot. Of course, the call down was on that one depot. So
look at this, man. Basically, the #1 advantage that Bratok had, the reason why he was okay that he had fewer tanks, was that he was going for those earlier upgrades. Now we don't see any continuation of the upgrades, and meanwhile, it's Cloud that is now getting 2-0, I believe, was it 2-1, 2? No, sorry, 2-1 for those Marines and 1-0 for his tanks. So as long as Cloud can hold this third base and hold this tank line, he will be in a really good position once those upgrades kick in. The problem here is that Bratok has control of that Naga tower, both of them actually, and that gives him a great vision advantage here for these tanks.
Well, position is the big thing that Bratok still has the advantage of. Of course, taking this Naga tower, if ever he can push on, what it's going to do is force some defense back here because he needs to cover his main. But look at this, it draws out a line this way, and now there's going to be attack coming in from the right-hand side. This is pushing all of Cloud's units out of position, and this is what we're always talking about with positional advantage. Bratok is going to utilize and his advantage pretty soon.
Yeah, this is really good play by him. He's got to be careful. He's moving a lot of Marines. Oh, there was a big unsiege from Cloud. He's got to be careful. He cannot afford to do that. But Bratok, unfortunately, unable to move in right now since there's the sensor tower. Doesn't want to move his army into position. Oh, he's going to move it in right now. This is the worst timing ever, unfortunately for him, since Cloud's army happened to be moving over to the right right then. So he's going to lose a lot, but actually Cloud, not sieging up his tanks, is taking a ridiculous amount of splash damage here. He will be able to clean up the last of these tanks, but that wasn't the most efficient
But here's the critical problem, though. It gives a lot of space for Bratok to actually move in and go directly into the natural. All the production over here. SCVs are going to have to be pulled. This is perfect position, and it looks like tanks, Marines going to come up from behind. Big stim comes out from Cloud. All these units are badly damaged. The huge splash damage coming in from those siege tanks are too much, and Cloud is going to be cleaned up very easily.
Yeah, Bratok is so far ahead right now. Look at that food, man. 178 food to 96 food. Cloud is dropping rapidly right now, and there's the GG. Bratok has taken game #1.
And Bratok takes game #1. I love that progression. You know, we had two very different styles. You have a mobility, and then you transition into a more positional style. Of course, we did see Bratok actually lose out in a lot of units throughout that beginning stage. Cloud was able to take out a couple of tanks. Those are very critical tanks. But ultimately, getting your opponent's Naga watchtower gives you so many options. You cannot let that happen.
Yeah, there were a couple things that Cloud had some problems with there. First off, obviously, he went for those upgrades to get 2-1 and 1-0 for his tanks, and they didn't complete before that engagement happened. That caused him a huge amount of trouble. That's a lot of investment, of course, that we saw Bratok was just putting fully into units. He just kept macroing. We saw his food start to get higher and higher above Cloud's. Also, remember that when he moved those tanks up to attack the gold of Bratok, he ended up losing 4 tanks didn't kill that much in the process. And remember that basically the entire advantage Cloud was relying on all game long was the fact that he had a higher tank count. Earlier on, he might not have had the upgrades, but he had the higher tank count. That's what he needed to rely upon. So if you lose some tanks in an inefficient engagement like that, all of a sudden you've thrown away the entire advantage that you were basing your strategy on.
Yeah, on top of that, after that trade went down, of course, Bratok was able to retain his siege tanks. They weren't actually even active in that fight.
Right.
And move directly down into the Zelanaga Tower. A lot of, lesser players or casual players would have just sat there and just chilled
and
out.
Defensively.
The correct move, there's a huge trade. You have positional units like siege tanks. Go take your position, because we saw all of a sudden a line had to be created. The line needs to be there to defend against any incoming pushes. And all Bratok did was took a smaller army, went around, baited units out, and then
baited them so well, man.
Oh
Cloud sent literally his entire army after just a couple units there.
And he needed to.
I don't know if he needed to, man.
Well,
I think he could have sent just his Marines and left his tanks in a line to defend,
But like he needs to do something about that push, of course, because if he doesn't defend against that, the gold expansion is at siege. And it's just game over. If you're a gold
expansion,
expansion,
split his army a little bit more efficiently.
Yes.
You can't unsiege every single siege tank and send them after 2 siege tanks and a couple of Marines of your opponent. Exactly. Obviously, they're going to take advantage of that position if they're a great player, and Bratok is clearly a great player. Went for it. That was just brilliant tactics by him, forcing that army out of position so he could run into natural.
Definitely. We're going to see if Cloud can actually come back into this. Bratok looking so good, so meticulous in his TVT. Join us. We'll be back after this break.